Hello, Adeolu. It is really amazing and great to have you here with us today. Excited to get time to learn more about you, learn more about your leadership style, learn about the impact you've made in the community, and glean from your wealth of experience and wisdom, as there are a lot of up and coming leaders or individuals that would want to grow their leadership capabilities. So they're great to get insights from you on leadership. So thank you so much for making the time and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here as well. This brings back a lot of memories, and I'm so excited to share about the principles, the thoughts, the ideas. And sometimes, they could be just very simple, but the things that have basically kept me ticking, and why I have done the things I've done, and why I continue to do the things I do.
Thank you. So maybe we can start from your definition of leadership. What does leadership mean to you? And how did it all begin for you? Was it something that you always aspired to be or something you always aspired to do? And were there individuals that contributed to framing your approach to leadership?
What has stayed with me is the model that has the vision. You have a picture of a future that you want to arrive at, and then you realize you can't do it alone. So it requires empowering them and then executing together with them to achieve it. So I feel that leadership is about there's something bigger than where you are that you want to achieve. And more often than not, you realize you can't do it alone. And you realize that in order to be fair to other people, I need to make sure that this makes sense to these people as well. So that it is not just my vision, it becomes a collective vision. And I will say that my very first recollection about leadership started in primary school, right? And it was a very small example, but I can't forget it. I saw something I wanted to do, and I realized that I couldn't do it. I realized that there was a way I could get other people along for their own wins, right? So if I allow them to win, then I can have the win that I wanted to have as well. And somewhere around there, I formed a picture of there's nothing impossible to achieve if you are willing to go together with others and if you're willing to do the hard work of thinking through what will they possibly need as well. Now, of course, as my life has evolved, I have gotten to read about people, I've gotten to meet with people, and I've seen different styles that resonate with the concept of leadership that I believe, right? Which is I want to get something done and I want to do it fairly. I don't want to be a user, right? I want to be someone whose quest for success also helps other people's quest for success, right? Somebody once said, what binds us together is our mutual quest for success. The company wants to succeed, so the company needs you. You want to succeed, so you need this company. And somehow that kind of like aligns with my concept of leadership to say there's somewhere we want to go, right? And all of us can get our wins if we band together and head there together.
So, were there individuals that inspired you along the way, or were there specific resources that you leveraged in that journey as you grew as a leader? And also, did you have to change your leadership style and approach and adapt it depending on the situation while keeping your core values?
Yeah, so most of my influences have come from reading. So of course my very primary influence, which is Jesus, I believe very strongly that he models leadership in a very interesting way that resonates very well with me. So in all my models, I've read about Mandela, I've read a lot of John C. Maxwell's books, I've watched movies where people typify leadership, movies like Braveheart, Coach Carter. I found different people in different spaces that resonate with my idea of leadership. I tell people that as early as 2005, there were movies I watched that drove me to tears. Not because they were romantic, not because there was death or loss, but because somebody resonated very strongly with my core beliefs about what leadership meant. Somebody had a vision that people didn't believe, but he was doing something to rally them together to a vision of a possibility that he saw. So the very first cornerstone anchor for my concept of leadership is Jesus. I find very interesting insights in variety of people, Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr. There was something big that they wanted to do. There was something they wanted to cross, and they realized it would take more than one person's effort. One of my favorite characters in the Bible is Joseph. You could see the leadership as well, knowing that sometimes you pass through different phases. Sometimes people do things to you without knowing what they're really doing. But somehow you figure out that somehow all of it works together for the vision, right? And everybody becomes a participant.
What are the core values that help guide your leadership decisions? You've worked in large enterprises, you've built businesses, you've led people. How do you ensure that when you're making decisions in complex environments without having all the information, what are some of those core principles, those core values that guide your approach to making the best decision possible?
I'll go over a number of them and I will talk straight from my heart. So, first of all, I'll say that I always ask myself, am I asking you to do what I can do? Right? Am I being fair? Am I a good example of what I'm asking you to do? I feel leadership is not about delegating or asking people to do things that you can't do. That I need to be fair, and that fairness requires leading by example. Now, I may not do that thing in that scenario, but am I committed enough to do it? So I always believe that the leader should be an example. The leader should embody the vision, right? It just means I'm the custodian of the vision, right? It is my responsibility to make sure that people educated and enabled to be able to play their roles. All of us have where we want to get to, and I have a role to play. And that role is the role of the cheerleader, is the role of the energizer, is the role of the vision caster. So I understand that in my team, I can find people who can do different things better than me. But that role of keeping the energy up, keeping the vision in front of other people, that's the work of the leader. Recently inherited a team of 60 people. I've never known them before. I'm just meeting them for the first time. And I'm supposed to be their leader, right? So I get to that mix and I have a few days to get to the place where, look, there's something exciting we're going to do together. All of your lives are going to be better because of it. And let's write this together. This is new for me, right? But I'm learning, I'm listening. I want to know what you know. I'm sharing my energy. I'm the leader, right? They don't know what we want to do. I know where we're going. I need to create the picture. I need to let the team be willing to follow. It's just a positive attitude to say, look, if we're going to fail, we'll fail together. We'll have fun doing it. And if we succeed, we'll succeed together. It's an adventure. I'm not going to be a leader who leads you to where I don't want to go. So it has to be authentic. It has to be meaningful to me. It needs to make sense. It needs to connect deeply with me. I can't fake it. So once it connects deeply with me, then it's going to be easy to share. I'll give you a very quick example. This happened many years ago. I was in 200 level in university and we were doing our CWS campus. Had to stay back in school for 3 months CWS. And then one day, I just felt, look, we're going to spend 3 months on this campus. We're the only ones in school. And we're going to be going for lectures every day. This is boring, right? Fellowships are not around. Many things are not happening. So I sat down and I caught a vision to say, look, we can make this interesting. We're going to be wasting 4 hours every day just roaming around doing nothing. There's something we can do. So one day I stood up in front of amphitheater and addressed everybody and said, guys, 3 months are going to pass very quickly and we're going to be here. Yes, we're going to be doing CWS, we're going for classes, but the evenings are going to be free. I have this picture of a drama we can act together. We'll charge fees for the drama, we'll invite people from town. It's going to be big, we'll fill amphitheater, it's going to be exciting, right? And if you are interested, please see me after class today. Let's organize and begin to do the drama. Now, at the time when I was announcing this, I didn't even know the drama we were going to act. I had no script, I had no plan, I had a vision, and I came and shared it with energy. And then somebody came to me after and said, look, I have this drama we acted in my secondary school. Let me submit this drama. I think you can go through. Someone said, look, this guy used to be a stage director, used to do costumes. And before we knew what was happening, Mina Sheso came with drama scripts. Bayo Lotu came to be stage manager. GBK, Ashiyabola came to be costume manager. Moses was going to be an actor. Dare will be an actor. Leke of Flutterwave came to be the soundtrack developer. I mean, before we knew what was happening, we had a number of people come together. And my role was leadership. I wasn't directing the drama. I wasn't writing the script. I wasn't doing the costumes. My assignment was every day we gather together. I just charge everybody up, right? I say, guys, you're going to do it. April 7, 1998 is a day you will not forget. That's the day. Come rain, come shine. That day, we're going to act this drama. We charge ticket fees, we make some money, and then we'll win. So it was just interesting. And of course, it was 40 days. I look back now, right? I was 200 level, but I had a vision, right? I passed energy across to people. I enabled people. I got resources from everywhere. I will make it happen. Okay. April 7, 1998, amphitheater was packed. We did the drama, charged ticket fees. A number of people gave their lives to Christ after. So it was commercially viable, it was spiritually enriching, it was amazing, right? So the vision was accomplished. But essentially, it was about catching a glimpse of something that was possible, realizing that people had idle time in their hands. People will live with a story that will be their story for the rest of their lives. So the opportunity to use time that we could have wasted. We made new friends, formed new relationships, and we're all better for it. So I think that's the template of what leadership is like.
That is such a remarkable story. So leaders are able to cast a vision and get people to believe in that vision. And even when it may seem that it will not happen or there may be challenges, the leader's job is to keep people motivated and excited. Even if the leader is inside, like, oh my God, what's going to happen, right? They may not, may
Absolutely.
have uncertainties, but they don't cast that uncertainty on the people. They reflect positivity and that energy to make sure people are engaged and still moving in spite of
Absolutely.
potential obstacles. No, thank
Absolutely.
you. Thank you for sharing that story. So, would you say that you have made any mistakes early in your journey and learned from it, grown from it? And also, how do you stay grounded? Someone said that uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. As a leader, you're carrying so much. How do you ensure that you remain grounded?
So, first of all, have I made mistakes? Yes. And one of the things I'm learning these days is I'm learning that mistakes are important. I'm learning that failure is a part of the process. I think it's a terrible society that crucifies you for failing. I think a healthy society should identify that when you fail, it's feedback and it's an opportunity not to give up, but to iterate and learn how to do things better. And I have plenty of failure examples, right? I'll share one. Typically, because of this visionary, energetic, bubbly personality, right? Even when things will fail, I will still have the same energy. So I remember one year, it was my first year at work. A friend told me about something they were doing in mining, and I basically caught a vision for mining. So I called a few friends together. I said, guys, we're about to make it, right? It's an opportunity in mining. If you make it big, these are great things that can happen. Basically, charge everybody, got everyone together, and we all invested. I invested as well. I'm not going to ask you to do something that I'm not doing myself. So somewhere along the line, different challenges were coming up. And to cut a long story short, this was an exercise that didn't end up anywhere. We ended up wasting our 100,000 naira each in this futile exercise. So it was it was a test of leadership. It was a botched project. I still think about it. This is 25 odd years after I got involved in this business and I didn't build anything. And I have a lot of examples like that. Examples of visionary ideas, energy, drive. Typically, when you have these key elements, there are 5 E's. So there's envision, enable, energize, empower, execute. Reality is when you have rehearsed and rehearsed. Yes, you have some elements of it when you're young, but the more you do, the more it becomes stronger. People like us will have the ability to cast a vision and transfer energy. And if the energy is vested in something that will not succeed, your energy is not going to make you succeed, except you're all in control of it. So, so I've learned from some of those examples that sometimes you do some of those things you lead, and the feedback for me is helping people, helping anybody who is going along with you understand that look, we have two options: either we succeed or we learn. Right? That thing that's called failure is a necessary part of that journey called success, and it will be an adventure. Sometimes it leads to where we're going, sometimes it doesn't. And that's not special to anybody, right? Have I made mistakes? Yes. Am I better today? Yes. Today, my discernment in being able to identify what has a higher chance, what has a lower chance is getting stronger. I am trying my best not to get into that place where I'm not as daring anymore. I still want to be daring. I still want to fail. I realized that somebody said there's no fallback position. If you fall back, you break your head. It's better to fall forward where you can see where your head is landing, right? Or you can use your hand to brace yourself. If you're going to still be able to create things and do amazing things, you will still need to take risks, right? So remaining grounded is crucial, right? And I think somebody calls it a mastermind. I think one of the things one needs to do is retain relationships that keeps you anchored, right? And I'll give you a quick example. I formed a WhatsApp group and I put a few friends who will not understand if I begin to do the things that I normally should not be doing. I said to them, guys, I'm about to enter this place where normally I'll stop picking your calls. Normally I'll be unreachable. Normally this is what's going to happen. But I don't want to stray away from my values. I don't want to stray away from who I am. So I need you to keep me honest. I need you to keep me accountable. I do not pride myself to be invincible, right? So the best thing I can do is create the accountability structures that consistently reminds me, Adeolu, something is changing and you're not paying attention. So I think we stay grounded like that. I tell people the human eye has a vision range of 90 degrees, right? I can't see more than 90 degrees, right? It means that because I have 360 degrees around me, but I need three other people to see the complete picture, right? So if we all see 90, 90, 90, four of us will make 360. A chameleon can see 360 looking forward and looking back. That's a chameleon, right? That's not who we are. So because we can't see everything around us, we need people around us to help us stay grounded. And I try to tell people integrity is not being blameless. Integrity is being honest about your being infallible sufficiently to quickly be able to catch yourself before you go in the wrong direction. So it's not saying, hey, man, I'm all that. It's being able to say, look, I'm not perfect. I need help. So essentially, you stay grounded by putting right people around you. You stay grounded by the things you feed yourself with, things you see, things you hear. The wrong communication corrupts good manners. If you associate with people who make the wrong thing feel normal, it just don't feel normal. If you associate with people who challenge you and make you aspire to better, to more, then your life will trend in that direction. So one needs to make a conscious investment in the information that enters into your head. The same way you can create the kind of social media content that will reach you by deliberately going for the kind of media content you want to reach you. It's the same way you need to deliberately filter and create the kind of people that you want to be around you, because that way it keeps you grounded, it keeps you strong on your values.
So what I hear is that you need to intentionally create that strong support system that will keep you accountable, right? And they will be your sounding board. They will be the folks telling you that, look, you need to be aware of certain changes in maybe your approach, your character, and there will be those individuals that will be there for you to ensure that you stay on the straight and narrow as
Absolutely.
best as you can. That's really insightful. I know that you've built a number of businesses, you've led large teams. My next question for you is around building an organization, ensuring that you're able to build the right culture in the organization that you're setting up. How do you go about making sure that one, the organization has a culture that aligns with your principles and that you're able to bring the right people on board and keep the right people on board, and if necessary, take the wrong people off the bus? Can you tell us a little bit about how you build teams and ensure that those teams have the right culture?
So I think as a leader, you have a very peculiar responsibility to direct and shape the culture. And culture is shaped by communication, right? It's communicate what the values are. It's shaped by consequences. It's shaped by reward, right? So if I communicate it, if I become an example for it, if I reward it, and if I put consequences in place for not doing the right thing, then I'm beginning to create a culture. And if I'm leading anywhere, I'm constantly communicating. I'm reinforcing it and sharing it. Call it communication, call it training, but extensively There's a lot of sharing and sharing about the ideals that we want to have as a team, right? Stephen Covey is also one very strong influence. I like this book that says, look, there are true not principles. There are principles that it doesn't matter whatever religion you have, whatever faith you belong to. We all agree that honesty is the best policy. We all agree, right, that I can be fair. Fairness is good. You will all agree with a few ethical things. So we communicate the values, we exemplify it. I always tell people, we know that honesty is a good policy because even if two people are planning to steal together, so one person is the one making stealing, and the other person is the one driving the getaway car. When the person that does the stealing steals, he must believe that after loading the money in the trunk of the car, the person driving the getaway car will be honest enough to wait for him, right? So even doing the wrong thing requires honesty. And so essentially, you communicate, you model it. Whatever it is you want to be seen in the culture, you do it. Let people see you do it. Don't say, be a servant leader. Be a servant leader. Show people that you care about them. If you want to exemplify it as the way you want people to also treat other people as well, demonstrate it. Okay? And then reward it. Celebrate the person. Make a hero out of the person that is doing the thing well. And if someone is doing something wrong, penalize it. And I think if you draw reward and draw consequence to the extreme, you'll see people will not stay long where they are not celebrated. Right? I naturally believe the best in people. I hope for the best in people. I need them to show me the worst in them. Right? So I joined the team. Somebody told me, don't allow this person to be in your team. Eliminate them from day one. Right? This is how they have done in the past. And I'd heard that somewhere in my mind. Right? I feel everybody here has potentials. Whatever has made them behave the way they behaved before is the environment that the leadership created. I'm a new leader. I can't judge people by the environment that predated me. So I said to the person, you know what? We're going to work together, right? They've said this about you, but I'm going to give you a chance to show me that they are wrong. I'm going against that recommendation. We will do this together. Show me that I'm right about you. And that's my way I feel everybody intrinsically has good in them. People may have treated them wrongly, is what has brought out whatever it is that they've seen. I will give you a chance and I'll try my goodness. And if it works, then we'll want somebody. If it doesn't work, then there'll be consequences.
You bring up a very interesting approach, right? Which is believe the people and give them a chance and don't interact with them on prior assumptions or preconceived notions. And in your experience, and I'm sure not every situation always ends out that the person improves, but would you say that that approach has always been beneficial to giving that person an opportunity to actually, reflect the positive side of them and change the information or the notion about them that you might have heard previously?
Yeah, so I'll say that. I'll say 80-20. So more often than not, people are risen to the occasion. More often than not. Now, I believe that nothing is bad, right? And all things work together for good means that nothing that happens is bad. So even if that expression does not lead to a conclusion that looks good, it's because we don't have the capacity to access it correctly because we're not timeless. We don't have control over eternity. But I know that person had an opportunity because the door was not shut on them. And that opportunity that they had will manifest as positive in many other ways. So, but more often than not, I've rarely regretted giving people a chance, right? Sometimes it works out very well. Sometimes it doesn't work out very well, but nothing bad happens. I tell people, if you're not faithful with little, who will commit more to your hands? So the first test is an opportunity for you to be faithful with little, right? If you are faithful with it, then you can expand. I have the opinion that there's a lot of value around, and there are so few people that you can even really share them with because they cannot be trusted, right? So if there's an opportunity to trust people, Of course, don't trust them with too much. Trust them with a little. And if they demonstrate that they can handle it, trust them with more. They can handle it. A time will come when you'll be able to delegate the extra work that you have to them, to people, because they've shown capacity to be able to handle it. So I believe 80-20, more often than not, people rise to the occasion. Sometimes people don't, right? So I tell people, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. So if you begin to draw a pattern, right, I can respect patterns. You can't draw a line with one dot. You need three dots to draw a straight line. If you have two dots, it can still be curved, right? So you need a pattern to be able to take a look. First strike, second strike, third strike. This doesn't make any sense. But give people a chance. I believe I'm a product of a chance, right? I think God gave us all a chance, so why not extend it to this one?
Thank you for the insightful perspective. So, when you think about leading, when working with people, when working in an environment where there's a lot of uncertainty, how do you lead through pressure? Are there tools that you use to ensure that people stay motivated through the uncertainty, through the pressure? How do you, one, help the people, right, in the mix of high pressure situation and uncertainty? And how do you help yourself to still see the positive, the light at the end of the tunnel, right, in the midst of pressure and uncertainty?
Okay, so I think the best thing you can do for your team is stay anchored. I'll just give you a quick story to showcase that. Just stay anchored. Stay anchored. So I mentioned that you need to surround yourself with the right people. I didn't mention that God is one of those people. So if you anchor yourself to another boat, if the boat is big, they can hold you back. But you need to anchor yourself to the shore, right? That's the thing that's moving. So once upon a time, April 1, 2017, we had a fire incident that engulfed our warehouse, right? There was roughly millions of dollars of products in the warehouse. And I got wind of it around 10 p.m. So I rushed down to the office. The fire was engulfing. We had about 13 fire trucks come to the scene. We were trying to see what we could rescue. All of us were there. And then somebody looked at me. And this was somebody telling me the story after. Looked at me where I sat down and they were talking among themselves and saying, what's going on here? What's he thinking? What's going on in his mind? Because these are his resources getting gone. So the person came to me and said, what's on your mind? What's going on? And I said to him, if God had told me to burn the warehouse, would I have done it? This was wondering, where am I going with this? I said, well, it's burning. It means I'm being saved from disobedience, right? Because if I'd been asked to do it, I would have done it. And maybe, definitely, for this to happen, it's a rite of passage into what is next. It means in there to be done. So everybody was thinking, have I lost? I wasn't thinking lost. I was thinking nothing bad happens. Everything works together for good. There has to be a reason for this. And, we will rise from this. This is not the end. And of course, everybody was having their own thoughts. But the moment my own thoughts were clear, the moment I was exemplifying what I believed, and I didn't allow it to bother me. This has happened to different companies before. We'll rise beyond this. And of course, by the next day, I did a video. There were over 40,000 distributors within the network that were managing. This was connected to their livelihood. There was an award ceremony we were supposed to do 8 days from the day where all the TVs, all the fridges, all the things we wanted to give away, right, as rewards were there. They felt the company's going to come up with excuses. It's very clear. All the things are bought. I said, no, guys, we're still going to do exactly on the day. We'll buy everything back. It's the factory that got bought. Our bank account didn't get bought. Buy everything back. Still go ahead. This is just an interruption. We will rise beyond this. From the ashes of our failure will rise the phoenix of our future. Basically. And I think for me, that's template. Template is stay positive yourself, communicate, right? Embody the future, be an example of what you want to see. And bad times are not permanent. There's dry season, there's rainy season, there's winter, there's autumn, there's spring. Life is in seasons, right? Good seasons will be followed by not so good seasons, right? But if we hang in there, we'll see the good seasons again. I believe is speak positively, maintain your energy, stay anchored, have a belief that supersedes anything that can happen, and then help others to just follow along.
One thing that comes to mind is bad times don't last, but tough people do. And I can only imagine what that season was like for you. But the fact that you had the right mindset, and as you said earlier, you talked about being anchored, right? Anchored to God. That definitely played a significant role in just how you thought about things, how you stayed grounded and anchored, and also helped your team to just remain focused on, look, this has happened, but we will match ahead, we'll move forward and, still be able to survive and thrive in spite of the setback.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So, a couple of last questions for you. It's really been a fun conversation. I've thoroughly enjoyed all the insights you shared, your wealth of wisdom and experience. So, when you think about legacy and impact, what do you hope your leadership legacy will be?
If I sum it all up together, right, I told you that my favorite leader of all times is Jesus. And I'm talking about Jesus not from a religious point of view now, from his lived life, from his lived experience. I'll say that what will be a legacy for me will be that there are people that I taught, people that I inspired. I believe that true legacy is teaching people who teach people. True legacy of leadership is leading people who lead people who lead people. The day you see the fourth generation of your leadership, the day the legacy is done.
Amazing. So, next question. How do you want people to feel after working with you?
After working with me, I want them to feel there's nothing they can do. I want them to feel that when I remember this time, I just feel invisible. You take away an energy that says, I've gotten to see potentials that I had that I never saw. And I cannot go back to where I was. So call it Hooke's law. You extend beyond limits and then you can recoil back to where you were before.
I like that example. So, finally, what advice do you have for the next generation of leaders?
For the next generation of leaders, don't think too little of yourself. See the big picture. Realize that you are not disadvantaged by where you're from. You're not disadvantaged by anything. The only thing that sets a limit for your life is your belief. And if you can change your beliefs, you can change the way you see, there's nothing that is off the limits for you. So I'll say, don't let your past write your future. Be inspired. When I read things like David said, he will deal with Goliath and the whole world will know that there's a God in Israel. It tells me that a village boy in the corner of nowhere around the world, without internet access, without TV, without radio, without television, imagines that an inconsequential stone that he throws at the community giant is going to make world news, right? And I think that's the best way to see yourself. See yourself as somebody whose actions will matter. It doesn't matter how obscure your history or past is. You can be global, you can be international, you can be as big as your imagination can take you.
Thank you so much, Delu, for those great words of wisdom and encouragement. I know that we can take on the world after this chat, right? So thank you for making the time to have a conversation. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you, Joke. Awesome time here today. Thank you so much.